So where you say, I am aware, I am seeking, and you're making tentative suggestions that I have derived, was this your own work?
No.
So we jump back into Jarnail Singh's testimony where we've got another email where he's asked for his thoughts and he fills it full of I's and I did this and I was the prosecutor, yet he turns around and says that no, he wouldn't have actually written it. And then when he's pressed on why it ended up in an email, he said it was the team view. Right, so this was the view of the criminal law team. No, apparently not. It was nobody's view. Nobody believed what was written in the email. It was just sent out for who knows. Let's jump into the inquiry.
Can we turn, please, to poll 0006 0974? And if we scroll down, please. If we just look at the whole email first, you can see it's an email from you to Susan Crichton, heading Second Sight and QC, 28th of July 2013. And then scroll on, please, so we can see the whole of the email. And then scroll on. And scroll on.
I'm going with he didn't write this.
And scroll on. And you can see you've signed it off, yeah? So if we just go back to page 1, please, and scroll down, please. So the context from their headings, Second Sight and QC, appears to be the review that was being undertaken at this time by Second Sight and the involvement or possible involvement of a QC, and presumably that would be Brian Altman QC at that time. Is that right?
That's right, yes.
And you say, I was thinking about what we've been working on, here are my thoughts. And you say, I was the prosecution lawyer in the case of the Crown against Misra at Guildford Crown Court in 2009-10. As far as I'm aware, this is the only criminal trial where a jury has been required to consider in detail the integrity of the Horizon system. I can say generally about what lessons can be learned from the case, in the hope that this may be of some assistance to the business in response to the Second Sight interim report and proposed appointment of a QC. The lessons to be learned from the Misra case. Let's scroll down, please. There are a number of lessons that can be drawn from Misra. I'm aware of the independent nature of the inquiry and of its expertise. I'm seeking to merely set out some lessons and tentative suggestions I've derived from completion of a difficult case. Was this your own work?
No, it's not completely all my work. It's, as I say, I've sought the help and assistance and advice from others who know this, who could assist with.
So where you say, I am aware, I am seeking, and you're making tentative suggestions that I have derived.
Yeah, I mean, looking in hindsight, that's probably would have been wise to say, look, maybe even say, look, I've sought advice from A, B, C, and D. These are the thoughts of a number of people, and that will help you in appointing, the QC, Brian Altman.
Why did he never have any thoughts of his own? That is the only thing that I keep on asking myself as he keeps on saying everything wasn't written by me.
Or who else? Because this is the sort of area we're looking at, the complexity of the Horizon system, and you need to be aware of that. Basically, I don't think there was anything in it. That's basically more or less what I done previously. So
you continue. Horizon is a complex computer system about which even eminent experts can make mistakes. Can you see? We've seen this before, haven't we?
Yeah, it's the same.
This is a rehash of another email.
Yes.
There was no reason to doubt Professor McLachen's expertise in good faith, and time again he had to be corrected by Mr. Jenkins.
Yes, same.
Not the only expert to have misunderstood. I've spoken to colleagues, etc. So here you're passing off as your own thoughts a cut and paste of an email which itself was passing off as your own thoughts, something that was in fact written by somebody else. Is that where we've got to?
It's yes, I suppose you could say that, yes.
Well, I do say...
Well, that's a big admission, isn't it? I just pass off other people's thoughts. I'm not having any of my own.
That, and I'm asking you, that's where we've got to.
I think, I was involved in it. I needed other people's input to complete it, and this is just assisting legal counsel in the post office to help her to appoint somebody.
Can we scroll down, please? In the last paragraph on this page, you say, it's very easy for a dishonest sub-postmaster, as Mrs. Misra was proved to be, to make vague accusations against Horizon where other lines of defence are closed. It's difficult.
See, that's a bit new, isn't it? So it makes it sound like these are his thoughts, or certainly the groupthink at the post office. Because again, that bit is subtly different. I think one other bit that's caught my eyes is here at the top. However, having said that, although the technical aspects of Horizon may be complex, its practical use by an SPM is not. Well, I think they might beg to differ on that with the amount of problems they had actually using it. And presumably, your helpline, or Fujitsu's Horizon helpline, wasn't so busy because it was so easy to use.
Difficult not to attract sympathy for such false claims. A sub-postmaster is likely to be viewed as a hard-working person of good character. Most sub-postmasters who steal do so because they're in financial difficulties, often stealing simply to prop up their failing shop business.
And if we take that to one side a second, so he's saying most SPMs, most sub-postmasters who steal do so because they're in financial difficulties, often stealing simply to prop up their failing shop businesses. Well, actually, from the sub-postmasters that I've heard from and the ones where we've had conversations with, it was actually the other way around. Because of all the difficulties with Horizon, their retail businesses were propping up the failing post office business due to the Horizon shortfalls that didn't exist.
In such circumstances, there will be no evidence of luxurious living. A dishonest sub-postmaster can use these factors to create a false picture that he or she is the honest, hard-working victim of a complicated yet flawed computer system. Where did that description of the dishonest sub-postmaster come from?
I don't know. I don't know where that came from. Presumably, the number of cases the post office.
You're talking about Mrs. Misra here, aren't you?
Well, that's the the fact that Mrs. Misra's case has been the one that's been more detailed, and that's the reason why it's been highlighted as Misra case. But it would be generally, it wouldn't be just one case. You would assume. Generally the pictures emerged. It wasn't just my view; it was view of the people who made a contribution towards this.
I mean, that might protect him somewhat, but it's not exactly painting the post office in a flattering light, is it? No, it wasn't just my view, or wasn't just one rogue employee. This was actually the view of the entire business of this poor lady.
Cartwright King hadn't been involved in the prosecution of Seema Misra, had they?
No, they haven't. No.
So is it your view that you're referring to here, then?
No, I didn't deal with the whole of the case. As I said to you, that's because it was one of those cases where it was difficult. I was away quite a bit in that year because it was a difficult year for me personally. So you had other people picking up the case on and off and dealing with it.
Whose view are you referring to here?
Well, all the people in the criminal law team.
Is that the collective view of the criminal law team that we see revealed there, then?
No, I don't think so.
Well, you can't say on one hand it's the view of the team and on the other hand say, no, it's not the view of the team. That makes no sense. And, he wasn't at pains to point out these personal difficulties and the fact loads of other people, essentially what he's saying, were doing his job for him when he was saying, I was the one who led the prosecution on this at the top of his email.
Who within the criminal law team did not hold that view?
I don't think any of us did. It's just...
I thought you just said that this is the view of the criminal law team.
It's not the view. It's when you're writing something, it's something. It came about, but I can't say that that's the view we generally held. Or in hindsight, it was a silly, stupid thing to do, I suppose.
So nobody held this view in the criminal law team, nobody held this view in the post office. We've got no idea who wrote the email, but somehow it came to be on the page in front of me whilst I was sending the email, and I sent it off. I think that's the sum total of that.
Sorry, in hindsight?
In hindsight, it wouldn't be written like that, would it? I mean, maybe at that time.
Well, not with you sitting here having to justify it, if that's what you call hindsight.
No, what I mean is when you had reviews and so forth, then obviously there's something wrong. But at that time, nobody was aware. Everybody was relying on it. I think we assumed everything was fine. So at that particular moment in time, year 2010, the system was working perfectly as everybody was, as far as everybody was concerned.
He's doing that thing again where he's launching a defence on the view that he says nobody held yet somehow made it into an email, which again is quite a strange thing to do if you are saying actually none of us held this view. I just mysteriously put it on an email because dropped out of thin air onto the page and hit send because, why not? YOLO, lol.
This is July 2013, when everyone knew that everything wasn't fine.
Well, it's the background. Susan wanted a background or something. I think she mentioned something in a passing. Janelle, can you help? And that's probably why I mentioned it.
But you're still running the line, aren't you? That there's a presumption of dishonesty with sub-postmasters. They're to blame, not Horizon.
No, that's not the case. I never held that presumption. I never assumed anything. It's just what it was at that particular moment in time, at that particular date or time.